Our top focus is on the probe into the AgustaWestland chopper deal in a major blow to Indian investigators. The Italian court hearing the matter has refused to share AgustaWestland probe documents with India. It's a big setback to India as the court says it can't share probe evidence. Meanwhile, a former CEO of Finmeccanica, Giuseppe Orsi, testified in court. He has denied meeting any Indian family for the deal. He has also denied engaging middleman Gyodo Hashke for any type of maneuver to get the deal. Also, a team of CBI investigators and Defence Ministry officials will be heading to Italy on Monday.
I wouldn't say Orsi collaborated. He defended himself correctly and represented the facts with great lucidity and incisiveness. He basically said no 3 times. He said he never gave Hashke any task, he never met the Indian family, and he never heard about illicit maneuvers before the call for bids.
Let's now speak to Sanjay Surya, political editor Europe. He is in Rome tracking investigations for us. Sanjay, first I want to ask you about the Italian court's refusal to share deal documents with India. We do know that a team from Delhi of the Defence Ministry and the CBI is likely to be in Italy on Monday. What happens then?
Well, I think we can possibly be over-dramatizing the fact of refusal. They have not actually refused, as in suggesting that, well, we have the documents and we're not going to give it to you. They have only said that the court process is such that it is required to share them only with the accused and their counsel at this stage of investigation. The court spokesperson has also said that they would be happy to share this with the Indian government at a later stage when the time is appropriate to do so. Right. So this is not a refusal, this is simply a reflection of a certain procedure underway. And it is certain, of course, that once the Indian investigation team comes, there will be a good deal of cooperation with the Italian authorities over this. A good deal of information is shared discreetly. And in fact, it is unavoidable that the Italian investigators involve India because India is the other end of these dealing which is under investigation. So the Indian authorities have to be involved and will be involved. The court has only said that it is not prepared to share the documents at this stage of the investigation.
All right, Sanjay, you're basically telling us this is merely a procedural delay. The other big news that we're getting in is that Giuseppe Orsi in court while testifying has said that he has never interacted with any Indian family while trying to get this deal through. Does this mean that the Tyagi brothers never came into contact with him? Where does this leave the Air Chief Marshal?
Well, he has made a very clear denial. That denial does not at the moment square with the Italian charge sheet. The Italian charge sheet speaks otherwise, and as we have seen. And this is the very process underway that we have been speaking about. The Italian prosecution has certain evidence that it has been given by former employees of the company and by agents that have had dealings with the company. It has that evidence on the one hand. On the other hand, we have a denial from Orsi. He says nothing of the sort. So now the prosecution has to measure its evidence in hand against the denial from Orsi and see where matters stand. And if the prosecution determines after internal investigations that will be rigorous and may take some time, that the initial evidence it had against Orsi is firm enough, it will then proceed to the next stage and frame charges, but we are not there yet.
Right, Sanjay, it's interesting that Giuseppe Orsi has said that he didn't make any contact with any Indian family, which means that none of the Tyagi brothers got in touch with him. The Tyagi brothers, you've spoken to Julie Tyagi and SP Tyagi, both have said that they did not, they're welcoming actually a CBI probe and they have nothing to hide. So clearly there are too many contradictions. It's really important for the Italian court to share probe, not just the probe report, but also the deal papers, deal documents with India now.
Well, to begin with, the denial from Orsi does not have to be taken at face value. This is only what he says, and it is inevitable that he would make a denial. The denial is along expected lines. Also, this kind of thing leaves a lot of gaps sometimes between the precise truth and the verbal truth. It may be literally true that Orsi did not contact one family or the other family. It was never likely that he would do so directly. The question is whether this was done indirectly through intermediaries. it is also very likely that if that was the process, he might then deny any knowledge of it. And so this would be his denial, and the court will have to determine, the prosecution first will have to determine whether there was any indirect communication and whether the circumstances show involvement, and the fact that he didn't pick up the phone and call, Tyagi or anybody else, does not necessarily mean that there was no communication and that there was no money transferred.